8月是夏天的最后痛点，是短暂停顿征战季后赛的逗号，还是早早出局告别赛场的句号？一整个赛季的努力都将在这短短的1个月里迎来答案。即便仅存理论可能性，依然全力以赴做最好的自己。提前告别也无妨，为荣耀而战同样值得尊敬。乐观是精神而非态度，积极求胜是不变的目标。中流砥柱，稳中求进，突破自我与再攀高峰。是重返巅峰，带走这个夏天的所有掌声，还是触底反弹，找回属于自己的取胜之道？年轻从不是示弱的理由，春夏持续的强势表现是他们抢班夺权的号角。调整磨合早已不是借口，不进则退的道理，他们比谁都更加清楚。跌跌撞撞的夏天终于走到了悬崖边，奇迹与遗憾只有一线之隔。
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Another day of League of Legends as we come out to the final day of Week 10 before we come into the final week of the regular split. You can see my AD carry, Chris. A lot of love in the support right now in Shanghai. We're going to be in Shanghai all day for these matches. We got ourselves a little bit of a playoff preview. Suning versus FPX. And later in the day, of course, we have EDG versus Top Esports. You can see the Suning guys just getting themselves set up. And fun fact, they are just above, their gaming house is just below my apartment.
Oh, don't say on stream where that is, okay?
I'm not going to give people exact locations, but it's a vague little fun fact. And of course, FBX riding high, only one series lost this entire split. Looking pretty happy, looking pretty casual. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm Oshin BP Malloy. I'm joined today by Clement Shu, and it's a pretty big day for all these four sides. Like, there's no real easy game today.
Yeah, all four of these teams have already punched their tickets into playoffs, so you are going to get some of that playoff magic right here today on a Sunday. And surely we can walk you through all the standings and talk to you about the important things that have happened over the week. And I want to say the most important things is that we only have 2 playoff berths left. IG, LNG, and WE are the 3 contenders that are most likely still in the running for those 2. JD Gaming, Dominus, and V5 still have a mathematical chance, but a much more difficult one.
Yeah, they gotta hope that everybody above them loses games. But of course, 2 big additions to that playoff teams is Edward Gaming and Suning. And they are also playing today as we have a look at today's schedule of games. Of course, we're going to start off with Suning versus FBX, the 1st versus the 6th, I do believe, and Suning. And then, of course, later in the day, EDG versus Top Esports. Top Esports still chasing for top 2, and EDG just looking to try and better cement themselves towards those buys.
Yep, small correction right there. Suning Gaming actually sit at 5th place right now, and with their 8 wins, they still have a chance to theoretically hit that 3rd place. And we're going to be mentioning this a lot, because 3rd and 4th place are super important, because right now, IG is going to be between 5th and 8th.
Yeah.
And if you're not in 3rd and 4th, then you have a good chance of facing last year's world champions in the 1st round of playoffs, which is terrifying.
Nobody wants that. You got to give the world champions respect. You got to make sure that, you know, they're not having the best of seeds or splits, but they are definitely still to be respected. But of course, we got to congratulate Suning.
Yeah.
Suning made playoffs. It was, you know, something that we didn't see on stream, but at the same time, fantastic to see them going through.
Yeah, we had small apologies. It happened during the LGD and JD Gaming set. After LGD overtook JD Gaming, there was no longer any room for Suning to be bumped out of playoffs. So we have to congratulate them on that. And it's super important because they were actually able to do it without their Galactic Armada. They actually swapped out Longxing, and we felt like it was a massive downgrade in terms of talent on their roster. But with their efforts, with their new coaching staff, they were able to take them all the way to playoffs. So congratulations, much more successful split.
And I think for Suning as well, like, you know, they're looking pretty good, but you're going against FBX today.
Oof.
It's a bit of a tough one, and you did a couple of number crunching here.
Yeah, the key thing I wanted to say about these two teams, because they're both coached by former Flash Wolf coaches, they have a very similar philosophy to the early and mid game. In fact, FPX is pretty much just a better version of Suning in that sense. They have negative CSDs at 15 on average. They leave their lanes a lot, but they find a lot of kills outside of their laning phase, and that props up their goal difference at 15. So both of these teams really elite in the pre-15 minutes, and a lot of their kills do happen outside of just the raw laning phase or in the rivers, in the jungle, areas like that. However, FPX have been proven to be more efficient, more proficient with that style, and hence they have a much shorter game time. So, Suning, for me, this is like shadow boxing for them. Can they defeat what essentially is a mirror image of themselves, but more perfected?
Yeah, it's like, you know, when you, those old school car racing games, and you have like, you do time trials, and it has a ghost of your of your things. It's like your perfect run, and you have to keep trying to beat it every single time. So kind of what it is for Suning. They kind of have to figure out that, you know, what they are able to do, how to make it better.
Yeah, and it's very important for Suning to actually prove that they are playoff contenders rather than just first-round playoff teams here, because in their record so far, they have been able to defeat only one other playoff team, and that has been Top Esports without their starting roster.
And this is a couple of clips as well that shows that Suning, they look for these roams, they look for these kind of FBX styles, but it doesn't always kind of come to fruition.
Yes, they are very conscious on where they want to go, but at the same time, like we're talking about, FPX much stronger in their in the similar fashion. However, Suning, I think they have a lot more, I would say, quirky picks. The TF is something that no one else really does play, and Angel has been a master of that. We've seen recently half of their games, the opponent team has had to ban out the TF. Massive impact. They play a lot of the Tom Kench as well, most played for SwordArt, and this has just kind of been their style. They are very cognizant on where the rest of the team is, and they beat you with coordination, not necessarily raw talent within the lanes.
Yeah, and so with that little TF ult, it's not the length of the TF ult, it's how you use it. You know, it's the impact it's able to make. But you know, we talked a lot about Suning, this is their opportunity, because they haven't really looked great against playoff teams right now. They've lost to IG, BLG, RNG, but they did take down Top Esports, so the potential is there for them to be able to take on these teams.
Yeah, and that's super interesting. Like, being consistent against the bottom half of the LPL ladder is also really important. Not a lot of teams have been able to actually do that, and that's why they find them in this playoff spurt. They have won against every other team below them, which is you know, it
got them playoffs. Yeah, it got them playoffs.
I would say, sorry, I should rephrase that. One against every other team that is 9th place and below in the playoffs right now. So that's super important. It's also really, really why they're doing it, and it's just very consistent. They always punish bad rotations in the river. If they have a priority lead, they will close down on it, whether it be the TF, whether it be the Corki that they've been running a lot as well. So those are the things that we're going to be looking for, and I think it's going to come down to like who has the cleaner roams from both of these teams.
And we talked about how, like, you know, shadow boxing or mimic or anything like that Suning are kind of doing a slightly less proficient version of what FPX do, because FPX just looks so damn good.
Yeah, FPX are so strong this split. Like you were talking about, only dropped one match to Invictus Gaming, and you know, who can you really blame for that one? And in terms of games, they've only lost 4 games the entire split. 1 to V5, 1 to LGD, 2 in the IG series so far. So the FPX formula has just not been defeated. Like, the Tain and Doinb roam, what they do is very, very standard. Standard for them, I should say. It's you basically hold on to Doinb as a last pick. They're a very red side favored team. They like to go and just give that last pick towards Doinb. Make sure he can leave his lane on priority, and then you just group up with Tain on one of the side lanes. You do a tower dive, and you snowball the game from there. It's something that I really like what Warhorse has been doing, because that was pretty much the Flash Wolves memo.
Yeah.
Flash Wolves always said, you know, the fastest way to win a game is just you tower dive, you kill people underneath your tower, you deny that wave coming in. That's the easiest way to snowball.
The LPL playoffs brought to you by Flash Wolves, because the amount of those, like, ex-coaches, players, like, all scattered around these teams is just kind of like, you know what, Flash Wolves were pretty good for a while there. Unfortunately, you know, they are now in the bigger leagues, separated, scattered across the LPL, but
they don't even have playoffs anymore.
Yeah. Rip. Press F. F to pay respects. But, you know, with FPX as well, their minds are going to be on towards playoffs. Like, we are coming towards the end of the split. One more week left after today. That's 14 series. Realistically, their mind's going to be kind of like, once we secure that top 2 spot, we're kind of thinking about, you know, very further on. They're going to be thinking of Worlds almost at this stage. Like, that's how far ahead of everyone else they are.
Oh, I think they'll still keep their minds laser focused on playoffs for now.
Maybe,
for now. Okay.
Maybe.
So
I hope so.
I think FPX, everyone's counting them to be on playoffs, but they have to really just hone it down. Everyone's talking about Worlds, but they need to hone it down for playoffs. And I'm saying this because in the last 4 attempts for Doinb, he's actually been knocked out of playoffs in the first round. The first round he played. So it's definitely something where I think Doinb needs to prove that he can have that killer instinct.
We'll have to wait and see if he does. We have got the team introductions coming in here in the arena. Suning going to be first. Of course, you've got Angel, who is their top laner, quote unquote. Weiwei jungle, Maple in the mid lane, SMLZ and SwordArt on the bot. And this side, like, they've shown glimpses of brilliance. It's just making it a little bit more consistent against the bigger teams, like you said.
Yeah, I wonder, that's a big question for Suning. Do they have to change up their style if they want to take down teams that I personally would say have a stronger roster talent, a stronger talent overall in their roster? How do they adjust to that? Because you really want to be more like a PvB, Biubiu Buffalo, where you can take games off G2, rather than be like Flash Wolves, who just, you know, didn't take games off the top teams. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing. You want to be able to kind of bring it to these, you know, much stronger teams. And if you talk about talent, you can only look as far as FPX in terms of pure, raw mechanical talent as they all come out there. And I think Doinb, we're on 9:15, by the way, so no champions have been disabled, but also got some little mini poppy buffs.
Ooh, that 5% extra move speed on that steadfast presence. And the reason we're talking about their mid laner is because the one that plays Poppy on this team is not GimGoon. It's Doinb. It's been a great Aurelia counter for him. And it's also a great roamer. You go into those side lanes, you can cut people off and just destroy them on the wall. So that's going to be something we're going to be looking for. For the rest of the FPX squad, very consistently we've seen Chris being focus banned. His Karma and his Yuumi have both been very strong champions. And it's also worth noting that Karma is also a huge Doinb champion. He's played it off meta in the past before, has some very funky builds on it that we've seen. So those are the 2 things that we're going to have to look for. And another team stats graphic. This time just very good in the GDF 15 like we were talking about. Both teams within the upper echelon into the warding section. And also the jungle control for FPX. Really surprising right there. First place, 55.3%. This means that out of all of the CS that's taken, they take 55 of the jungle CS in their games.
That's a little bit more than half, so obviously that means that they do end up invading, taking some more jungle camps off of everybody else. But I will say Suning not too far off that as well. But like you said, just kind of little things like, you know, everything you can do, we can do better.
Yes.
And that's the only kind of like problem there. The only kind of positive, I suppose, is that wards per minute or wards placed per minute for Suning slightly higher, but there's no real huge difference between these 2 teams in that regards.
Yeah, I would say that's always the funny one, because usually when teams go to a longer game time, they have more wards placed per minute.
Naturally,
yeah.
how it goes
in the
down.
late game, people, you know, they buy a lot more wards. There's a lot more grouping. So I think that stat is even there. You can see it's not a definitive advantage, but what I think the stats on the Chinese side and our side shows is that both of these teams are going in the same direction, but there is a difference in degree.
Of course, SMLZ going to be the focus here for the side of Suning. Had some great games of recent days, and of course can't really talk about his last 4 games without talking about those Jin picks. And it's kind of been that little pocket pick that Suning have kept very well hidden until late stages in the season. Yeah,
it was the same thing for Spring Split as well, and SMLZ has been known as the Chinese sniper. He favors this champion pick even when it is completely outside of the meta. And we actually heard a very funny mic check between the Suning members where they were talking about, you know, the pros and cons of Jin. And the reason, like, sometimes they don't take it is because Jin is not really a teleport taker. A lot of times you see the heal being used as well, and also some compositions where the enemy team has a lot of divers, you might not see Jin being a suitable pick.
But interesting stat for me on that particular graphic was the damage per minute, highest of any ADC. Didn't have the highest damage percentage, but does a damn load of damage in this team, so you can see the kind of importance that Suning put onto this bot lane, and we will most likely see them focusing to try and get him ahead.
Exactly. I think this was the main reason that Suning has been more successful after their roster change. It's that they have now just said, you know what, we're just going to focus on Smlz. He's going to be our main carry. That wasn't necessarily the case in spring, and you know, Smlz has paid off for that patience and protection.
That's a lot of Gragas. That's a lot of Gragas games, and a lot of good Gragas games in his recent match history. And Tain, there's not really much else you can say about this guy. His first and seconds across the boards, you know, like the guy is just so good. And the great thing is that because you have to focus your bans on everyone else on the side of FPX, he gets free reign whatever he wants, and that seems to be Gragas.
Gragas is, we talked to Xiaopeng, and he just said the best Gragas in the LPL is this guy. It's Tain. He really knows what he's doing, and something that they're not showing on this graph is that Tain typically has a negative in terms of experience and CS farm, but massive leads in terms of gold. He is very kill-focused as a jungler. The most two proficient junglers I would say you can see Tain on is the Elise and the Gragas. And what these two junglers do best is tower dive. They're so powerful when you're going into those side lanes. You have multiple ways of crowd control from Gragas to blow someone out of that tower range. And on Elise, it's so easy just to shift that tower aggro around. So those are the two picks you really need to expect from him.
Waiting now for pick and ban, but expectations for Suning coming up against FPX. I want to see them try and just, you know, really push something here in the mid lane. Really put, you know, Doinb under pressure, because I feel like you just said, Tain and Doinb, those high kill intensity kind of duo that kind of they're constantly roaming the other, or they're just 2v1ing you in the mid lane so frequently that you're just going to fall behind naturally. Yeah,
the biggest answer to stopping what FPX does has always been trying to shut Doinb down. Easier said than done, of course, and I wonder who's actually going to be playing the mid lane this time, because Maple and Angel have been sharing that role, and they even came out and said, you know, typically that is undecided. We only know which lane we're going to after the draft is completed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in draft, of course, for Game 1 of FPX versus Suning in this best of 3. As we see the Sylas, Akali, Olaf taken away, these early game skirmishers taken away by FPX. As we see the Ryze as well as the Yuumi taken away by Suning. Ryze definitely not as powerful, but they respect it in FPX's
They
hands.
always ban it against Doinb. The three most common bans against FPX have been the Yuumi, the Ryze, and the Karma. So that being said, you pretty much know which one's left. And I would see FPX most likely going for that champ. It is a triple flex on the team. Doinb plays it, GimGoon plays it, and Chris can also do a good job on pushing that bot side out. So unless they go for the, what else is left? Not even Sylas is left.
I was going to say, I actually, from watching the pick and bans from FunPlus Phoenix for the last few times, they always prioritize their jungle pick to make sure a Tain can enable his lanes. I like this pickup because it also means that Suning are kind of in a, they have to pick up their jungler in this kind of before the next ban phase, and also they have to like potentially pick up Karma now in the next two picks.
Yeah, Karma is a massive one, actually for both of these teams. Because SwordArt is one of those OG Karma players as well. It's also protected for their bot lane. But Suning, looking like they're going for the hyper carry route for Smlz. This is something that really defines their style. It's either a hyper carry or it's Jhin for their bottom side.
I'm going to have to see now what they kind of go for. Aatrox, of course, still slipping to the bans. Very, very powerful pick. Does get pretty hard countered, I will say, into the Karma matchup, but no, Suning, we talked about the importance of Smlz in this entire series will be, and they want to lock in their AD carry and support now.
Setting up a kill lane here, so they're really thinking on strong snowballing early. Something like could gank early for them in the jungler would be really important in this draft. Seeing what's left up, the Olaf is gone, Gragas is down, so Sejuani's still up. That would be a suitable answer here. They're definitely looking for kills with how much crowd control and burst potential this bot lane would pack.
Ooh, Varus picked up there with the Tam Ken, so a lot of poke, kind of a lot of safe CSing and poke available for FPX as they give that one up to LWX and Crisp. And like I said, I want to see what Suning go for. You would imagine they will look to try and lock in their jungler here, as they have got the priority coming into the second pick and ban. However, Aatrox has still been left open. They may just look to straight up ban the Karma out and just give Aatrox a slightly better laning.
Yeah, and the Aatrox is an interesting one here. Weiwei is a decent Aatrox player, but Angel is amazing on the champion. That would be the position I would really want to see him in. Suning still holding their cards open with the flex option. That Aatrox could definitely be a gank answer against the Tahm Kench. Actually, quite a relatively easy gank. Trying to get the catfish.
We'll have to wait and see now. Karma, like we talked about, probably almost certainly banned away there by Suning, so respecting the fact that they want to make sure this Aatrox has a decent enough time. Corki going to be banned away as well by FX. Still yet to see the Twisted Fate from Suning. You would imagine that it will be the last pick if they want to go for it. Gives them that global pressure, that roaming potential that we talked about.
FPX holding on to their solo laners, while Suning potentially doing the same. Also have the jungle option here, so it's making FPX's bans a bit hard to do. Seeing the Aurelia taken away, this is something that both, again, GimGoon and Doinb flex. It's kind of the interesting about FPX is that just have so many damn flexes between their solo laners. And the Sejuani, a good gank option like I was mentioning against the Tahm Kench, taken off the board. You just don't want that Kai'Sa snowballing.
Yeah, and actually, interesting enough, look at the amount of solo lanes that were just taken out by both sides. The Akali, the Sylas, the Corki, the Ryze, the Karma, the Aurelia. Like, that's 6 bans out of 10 that were all focused onto these solo lanes. And looks like Suning, you talked about an early ganker. Elise fits that bill perfectly.
Yeah, and Elise is something that is a bit rarer to see coming from Suning. This is not a champion that they usually go for, but it's a great combo with the TF. Like, Elise and TF tower dives are some of the most powerful ones you can find in the game. Elise can go in, shrug off a tower shot, you have an instant stun. The CC chain is there, single target, very easy to line up. So FPX are definitely have to think about the TF potential, because this is a composition that Suning has run already.
And Rumble locked in. Probably going to be going to Doinb into that mid lane. However, he is the king of flex picks, and he is able to flex anything and everything. Camille locked in as well. So good engage coming in here from FPX. You've got the Cataclysm. You also have the Chains of Corruption from the Varus to lock people down, on top of just making everyone sweat absolute crazy with that Equalizer as well from the Rumble. So a lot of damage, a lot of team fight potential. We'll see what Suning want to try and respond with. Looks like it's going to be the Azir. And I don't mind this at all. It's good disengage and also a good way to kind of keep that Kai'Sa alive should they get caught out.
Yeah, it's just trying to shore up their bottom, their later stages of the game, but that really leaves very few gank options for this Elise. It pretty much means this Elise is either going bot or top, and what that means is that she's going to be splitting a lot of time. I think in the Suning composition, Angel's just not going to see that Elise that much whatsoever. So most likely just focusing on the bot side. And unfortunately for the Aatrox in the top, he's going to have to play towards his own, just have a you're on your own type of game. And for FPX, this is just a very comfortable composition for them. The Camille has only been going towards the top side for this team, so Doinb not yet going into that flex. Very clear on their solo lane priorities. Lots of engage, lots of priority in their mid lane. Exactly how FPX want to play it.
I think both sides pretty happy with what they have. However, the kind of, dirty word, if you like, of scaling for Suning, definitely not what you want to be seeing going into a team that just react and play at such a high pace from the side of FPX. And FPX have all the tools to make anything they want happen. It's all about how Suning react to it. And Suning, they're going to have to try and find some kind of openings with this Elise, because Elise just, after 25 minutes, just becomes a stun bot. Oh my god. It's a marshmallow. Look at him.
It said something about Crisp.
Is that Crisp's dog?
It could be. I'm not sure, but that's what it did mention.
That was the cutest little puppy ever. I think it was an Alaskan Malamute. So big, so like a literal marshmallow.
I wonder if they had those here, man.
I mean, I imagine maybe up north, maybe not in this weather, because those poor things would need to be like sheared like a sheep. You'd have to get rid of all their fur until winter hit. But, ladies and gentlemen, when you see the lineups there in front of you, will be all on Suning to try and slow down FPX. But FPX, they've been through this before. They know exactly what teams try to do against them. And like you said earlier, a lot easier said than done as we hit the Rift for Game 1 of this best of 3, Suning versus FPX. Let's get it going. heard EDG. EDG are now looking for people to help them out. We are now
Doinb's wife in tag.
always starting those chants. We'll see now. No real shenanigans. Pretty standard start from both sides. But where do you want to see these two junglers focused right now? Like we see them now both starting on the bot side of the map. Blue buff for Elise, red buff for the Jarvan. Where do you want to see these two going?
Most likely just bot side for Elise. They have the Nautilus crowd control there. It's easy kills against the Tomkin. So I think if you're looking for pathing, that has to be the answer here. On the other hand, for Jarvan, I think the way he plays it is just to establish roaming for Doinb. So he's going to be hovering around mid a lot. A lot of times you will see him around the Wolf camps, the Raptor camps. He's going to have priority early on against the Azir as well. So that should be the direction for the two early jungles.
Straight away, SwordArt just making sure that the FPX bot lane knows that he started off with the dredge line. Just making sure it's like, hey, there's a potential for a level 2 gank.
Yeah, and this is a bot lane that we see so much in the LPL. It's just massive amounts of level 1 burst potential. You can put 2 stacks of plasma with the Nautilus and Kai'Sa. You get the hook in, the dredge line, and of course you get the passive as well. So you can see right there 2 instant procs. And if you get the full burst down, it's probably the strongest level 1 kill lane in the bot side.
Of course, Doinb picking up that Rumble. We've seen a lot of it in the LPL. Seems to be a specialty within the LPL. No other region really picking up the Rumble mid. Doinb and Xiaohu probably the 2 biggest benefactors of this pick. And going with the Comet, not going with an Electrocute. Knows it's all about that kind of like poke damage with the Flame Spitter and sustaining within this lane, because Maple should have a relatively easy time at just keeping him down.
Ooh, very good dodging of the trades here by Maple. Dodges out on both sides of the E. And I think we've seen Rumbles fail and we've seen Rumbles succeed. And the reason why it's played mainly in the LPL is because we are much more mid-jungle focused. If you leave a Rumble alone, he will push the lane and he will die because he's very easy to gank. And you need to constantly hover him like a helicopter parent for this Rumble pick to work.
You can see straight away, you know, the laning priority for FPX means that Doinb can roam up. We talked about these early roams for Suning, but FPX are a better version of Suning. As that wave crashes, it's not going to last very, very long, but they're going to jump in with the hook shot. They're not going to be able to get the kill just yet. There it is. First blood comes in, but Maple does TP up, but won't be able to react. However, Weiwei finds himself towards this bot side. The hook does land. They have got to devour as well if they should so need it. They're going to land the hook there onto the Tamken to try and change the direction of this fight. Chris does take a huge chunk, and FPX not going to lose anybody, and that's the important thing. They don't lose any gold.
Yeah, when the dust settles, definitely a massive win on FPX's side. They get double teleports here from the solo lanes, and a very clean kill from the top. A great flash from GimGoon. He drops the turret aggro as soon as he lands a stun, and Rumble's just going to make sure you have enough damage to finish up on those side lane dives.
Now the priority of the game very much stems on how does Angel lose gracefully in this lane? And I think that's something that we kind of talked about a couple of times, but you can be a Ning and lose a jungle matchup or a Muzo matchup incredibly poorly and end up giving more and more advantages away. Or you can just say, you know what, I'm going to be 25, 30 CS down, maybe a kill down, but I'm not going to lose anything else. And that's kind of what you have to resign yourself to sometimes, and it sucks. Yeah,
and that's why I was a little bit confused on just how weak a pick Aatrox actually is here. We have to remember that Maple did have the counter pick in this draft, but he didn't decide to go for anything that would have stopped the priority from Rumble. Even with kill threat, it would have been enough, but he just went for a very reserved Azir pick, which is going to give FPX free reign of the early game. And that means Suning has 2 lanes that are very easy to kill. There's a bruiser in the top side, and, you know, Weiwei cannot be in 2 places at the same time.
Oh, here we go. GimGoon jumps in. Infernal Chain's going to knock him back a little bit. Q's do land. Tain is here. However, good ward there from the side of Suning. Weiwei hasn't been spotted out just yet, but will be spotted now as Tain is here. You can see now they're just trying to give some kind of support to this Aatrox, trying to make sure he doesn't lose as much as the side of FPX would like him to lose.
And Tain going up to his old tricks, just trying to repeat dive. There is no flash on the top side, so very easy kill if that wave ever goes in.
You see Crisp getting jumped on, has got that grey health, so actually ends up coming out in favor of that trade, in my opinion. And Doinb has priority mid. You can see the call straight away with the wave crashing is to try and get Angel down again. However, this time Weiwei is here and Azir is making his way up, so FPX realize they haven't got enough time, they haven't got the summoners, and they're just going to back away. Or are they?
Ooh, they know they have the vision advantage, and once Azir pops back into lane, they're ready for the 3v2.
Here we go, the equalizer goes down as well as the Hextech ultimatum. The flash and cocoon was just a little bit too early as GimGoon was able to reset that one with the Hextech ultimatum. Double kill in the top side for FPX as they get themselves 3 kills onto this Camille. And Maple, there's just nothing he can do with his teleport on cooldown.
I know, and this is the problem with the Azir pick, like we were talking about. Just cannot follow the rumble around the map, and that was all too easy for FPX. Love the concept there. Camille ultimate goes down, the equalizer goes down, there's nowhere for you to go. It's a double chain CC stun, and there's still slows to follow that up. Very easy to execute, and let's just watch how they do this again. Suning thinks that they're safe now, that they forced FPX back the first time, but FPX are patient. They can still walk around here, and you can see that CC chain perfectly done. There's not much Angel could do at all in that situation.
Faster, better, stronger. FPX just showing Suning how you're supposed to play these early roam games, and you can see why the Rumble is such a strong pick for the likes of FPX and RNG. The push priority you get with your Flame Spitters and able to kind of, make those roams happen even if your teleport is on cooldown. So we see now what Suning can do with this bot side, and honestly right now FPX are totally fine with this bot lane because it's going equal.
Yeah, like nothing's being punished here. All they need to make sure is FPX's bot lane doesn't get dove underneath tower when they're punishing Angel in the top side. That hasn't happened so far, so strong win for them. And FPX are going to move very quickly into, I would say, just into a split push phase now, because look at that topside Camille. She's already sitting on 3 kills. That's going to be a super early Triforce. I wouldn't be surprised if that Triforce pops out before the 10-minute mark. And it's just so easy to follow up on those kills.
You can see the idea from Suning was to have Weiwei up towards that top side to try and trade back maybe a 1-for-1 or a 2-for-1, so it's not as bad, but when you have a Hextech ultimatum, something that can literally de-aggro the turret for you, it makes those dives so easy for FPX. It's so hard to deny from the side of Suning.
Yeah, and one of Suning, I think the main reasons that they haven't been that competitive against the top side of the LPL is they always very consistently run like bot side hyper carries, and that means they just can't trade back on the bottom side. They typically lack a lot of crowd control.
Here's Tain. Spotted out a little bit. Cocoon does not land. He's going to steal this camp away. Cataclysm down straight away. Just use the repel to jump back out on top of this as GimGoon has pure priority here onto this top wave. You can see that Angel, he's trying his best before Doinb arrives to try and clear this wave, but I feel like we've seen this before. Angel flashes away, Hextech ultimatum gets dropped down. Another kill. Doinb though going to take another turret shot, but it does not matter as they know there is no flash on Weiwei. They're going to try and get Maple onto this tower, but it is an Azir, so he's not going to be able to get much done. And 4 kills now onto this Camille means that Triforce is almost certainly going to be done now as soon as he goes back.
This just feels like deja vu, and even Angel has to laugh at himself. He's like, well, boys, looks like game 2's on the way. Maple having a chuckle himself there. We both know that this game is pretty much over, I would say.
You could say the early game is definitely over for the side of Suning. Their idea of going with a hyper kind of kill lane bot lane did not work out for them, and unfortunately they gave away too much for that towards that top side to the side of FPX. And right now the call I can imagine from the side of Suning is we need to delay this game for another 25 minutes. Yeah. And then we're in a good one. But Flash actually gets hit. Crit's going to be forced to use his stopwatch straight away. He only just got that. And already has to be used, and his summoner is down. That could mean that the Cloud Drake will go over to the side of Suning. Not the most highest priority of Drakes, but definitely better to get something than nothing.
Exactly. I just want to say that this game is a perfect example of why Renekton is so popular in the LPL. Because if you're picking something like the Kai'Sa and Nautilus in the bot side, who don't have a lot of chances to have a priority or to just do these tower dives, then you need something strong that can survive on itself in the top. So Renekton, is the go-to answer for a lot of these LPL teams when they're running just like a hectic carry that can't really trade back on the weak side. And I think Suning will adjust their draft accordingly in the next game. They really can't go for something like the Aatrox.
Cloud Drake taken. Another Cloud Drake going to be coming here as Smlz and SwordArt pick themselves up a fair bit of turret plating gold. Still 3 minutes on that, but GimGoon was given free reign as Doinb and Tain had roamed up to take the Rift Herald, which means that that first turret goes down. That's a lot of gold now onto GimGoon, who has that Triforce completed. There's the immediate Rift Herald take now. More gold, more pressure, more priority here for the side of FPX. They find themselves at a 3,000 gold lead just at 11.5 minutes.
Very smooth game for FPX, playing it by the book, just taking members where they have pressure in lane, roaming it elsewhere, and now Suning's opportunities are fairly limited. Not even a first item really completed on Smlz. He does have the, I would call that like kind of a half item.
Here we go, Maple gets jumped on. There's the equalizer as well, and that's just too easy for the side of FPX. And GimGoon, he's the carry this game, 5-0-0. This is just getting a little bit too much for the side of Suning. I don't think they can do anything about this.
No, they just lack the damage at this point. Good 3-man knock-up, but not enough to really dissuade FPX, or not enough to get a kill back, I should say.
Just enough to dissuade them, not enough to kill them, but overall they just want to try and keep that top lane or mid lane turret up as long as possible. As they see, just try and get Smlz some kind of lead here. He is about 10-15 CS up, but that's not really what you want to be seeing, considering you look at topside and you just kind of, you know, hope and pray that Aatrox can be relevant in this game as he's sitting on just a Kindle gem.
Yeah, and the way these items...
Oh, whoa.
FPX going for defending their own jungle here. Not even wanting to trade back the red.
Well, they know that they're stronger right now as this time in the game. Doinb going to be forced to pick a much more secure location to start his recall. Has got his TP available, so shouldn't really have any issues defending that turret, stopping any more plates going over to the side of Suning, as the Nashor's Tooth has been completed here by Maple.
I just really want to see the team fights from FPX when they finally get to 5v5, because this is a great composition to basically what's known as locking someone up and just setting the house on fire. They have two massive arenas they can cast onto the map. You have the Hexic Ultimatum, the Cataclysm, and both of those go so well with the Equalizer. It's really like a Suning barbecue. I've never tasted lion before.
I was going to say, I think it's more of a hot pot. the FPX hot pot of Cataclysm, and then turn up the heat with the Equalizer.
Oh, it's just such a fun comp to watch. There's plenty of AoE, plenty of initiation, and this is the type of composition that can end games so fast when you're in the lead.
Yeah, you could look at a potential, you know, 22, 23-minute game, and this is the kind. That's just a little bit unfortunate. Thank God nobody from the side of FPX was there, otherwise Weiwei might have been in a little bit of trouble. But as I said, like, you know, that's the kind of combination you need, where it's on to Suning to be able to kind of, you know, look to disengage from that. If they can get a good, you know, Azir shuffle, maybe get an ultimate off to catch somebody out, destroy, you know, maybe the Camille early, get that good shutdown gold of over, you know, nearly 1,000 gold actually at this stage, then maybe they have some way of coming back into this. But right now, they have not really found an option or a prayer, if you like.
And no lanes are ahead. They're going to have to do it through lane ganks, but Tain is also here, so...
Weiwei half-healthed straight away from 1Q there. Tain, though, going to get bursted down. That's a good reaction here from the side of Suning, finally punishing the overzealousness of FPX.
Yeah, that was a really smart cocoon that Weiwei landed out, and it enabled the rest of the combo from Angel. So a little bit of an overstep for Tain, and a massive sigh of a relief from the top laner in Suning.
Finally getting some gold onto this Aatrox as well. That will help him towards his Black Cleaver and make him somewhat relevant into this game. 1 minute until that Cloud Drake does spawn. Actually, I looked up the definition of Drake. They're actually the dragon. It should not be called Drake by definition. Drakes have 4 legs.
Oh, that's the difference?
The difference is that drakes are smaller and generally seen as evil, whereas dragons have magical elemental properties.
I'm pretty sure Drakes have elemental properties, at least on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah.
Oh, I just always thought that Drake means
I
like small dragon,
I
like
think
dragon ling or something.
it was like kind of like that, but I think in the world of fantasy lore, it actually translates to like a particular type of dragon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tolkien's rolling in his grave because of that.
I don't doubt it. I do not doubt it.
Wrong, you're
Every D&D fan just hates everyone in League of Legends because it's not a Drake. Stop it.
It does have 4 legs though.
Does that have 4?
Hey, I'm pretty sure it has 4.
Or does it only have 2?
No, that's 4. It's 4.
Oh, it does have 4. You're right. You're right. It does have 4. It's very hard to see. Oh, does it?
Do those wing thingies count as legs? No.
No, but it does have 4 legs. I can see them right on top of it.
Ah.
Right underneath it. It's like a little T-Rex.
Okay.
So maybe it is a Drake. Couldn't really see it there, but doesn't matter because FPX is going to take it, get those magical elemental properties off of that dragon, and get themselves equaled up on Cloud Drakes. Only a little bit of movement speed, but better to have it than to not.
It always works great for the Camille, especially when you're trying to make the trek from that side lane towards the middle. Yeah, not much going on here for Suning. I really want to see if they can get a catch in the mid lane. That's something you can always do with Nautilus and just a good Shurima shuffle when someone's trying to take your siege. So I think that's going to be probably the best chance Suning have to get back into this game. FPX are just going to be setting up the 1-3-1, but unfortunately for Suning, they don't have the support here. Still pushing out the wave, and this is going to be an opportunity for FPX instead.
And just exactly like you called it, they're just going to try and engage onto this one. Chain of Corruption on top of the Equalizer means Maple has to flash away. He's still burning down. The TP was completed by Angel. Now he's on full retreat mode as he does not really have the support. But here comes his team. SwordArt a little bit isolated here as Tain. Oh, a little bit of a mistake there from Tain. Didn't realize that the hook was going to land. Tried to interrupt it.
I guess Spider-Man takes priority over that.
I guess so. Now we know how that interaction works, and Nautilus able to back himself away. They just lose the turret, but FPX, they invested quite a few ultimates into that, quite a few summoners as well. Let's see if the side of Suning can really capitalize, but I don't think there's really anywhere for them to go.
Yeah, they're getting pushed in on all 3 lanes at this point. If Suning want a back into this game, it has to be a counter siege situation. So what I want to see them doing is if they can predict or read when FPX is going to be grouping up, they really need to roam Nautilus over. They need Nautilus for the crowd control, for the potential to turn a dive like the one we just saw.
And it's pretty standard from the side of FPX right now. They're just kind of waiting for teleports availability as such as Doinb once he gets his and LWX gets his, they will be able to fully commit to that 1-3-1. And be able to react to whatever Suning throw at them. However, Suning, they're just looking for time. And the gold lead hasn't really grown that much as such. So the positives for Suning is they're not falling further behind.
True, but just wait until that Baron.
Yeah,
this is actually a very fast Baron team from FPX. They have good tanks to absorb the damage as well. And Blade of the Ruined King on LWX means that, Suning always needs vision control over this side of the map.
Doinb's got to be careful. You can see quite a few people hovering towards that top side on the mini-map.
He knows it. Good pings coming down.
He saw what happened to Xiaohu against Top Esports when they tried to defend that turret top side. Is Smlz going to pick himself up a wave? And what does the side of FPX try to return with this? They're looking to just kind of keep Doinb safe, look to push in those 2 lanes in the mid and bot. Honestly, right now, it's kind of a called your bluff from the side of FPX.
This
and
is
Suning,
perfect answer.
Yeah, perfect answer for the side of FPX. There is the TP going to be invested here from Doinb as he just commits again. And Suning, unfortunately, getting called out and not having much of a response.
Yeah, I love the awareness on Tianjin. Just go up and hit that tower. And then Doinb, after he clears up the top wave, is like, you know what? I'm just going to go into the bottom side. If you notice, he did expend the equalizer on his wave on the top side. So he was like, you're not getting this tower. I'm going to equalize, just burn this wave down, instantly teleport bottom. And that just creates such a large tempo lead on the map. We actually frequently see Rumble players do this. He's considered quite a good weak side pick because of his ability to just clear the wave from 2,000 distance.
And that's the thing as well, like, you know, the fact that they had the knowledge to go, we have no vision up top side, we have all the vision down bot side, and you know what, Doinb, let's just clear the wave and back up. Even if we lose the tower, it's not that big of a deal. And you can see, like you talked about, just dropped the equalizer, TP'd immediately towards that bot side. Very smartly done by FPX.
Yeah, just such a smart answer, a very standard answer, but because we don't see Rumbles that much in the league, I think a lot of teams don't factor the possibility in.
He's actually rushed the Liandry's Torment as well, so he's looking to burn down the likes of Angel and possibly Smlz before they can sustain into fights. And I like that adaptation. Normally you see the Proto Belt as a pure burst damage kind of setup, but recognizing that the only real way for Suning to get back into this game is if this Aatrox and Kai'Sa are able to kind of really pop off.
I do see the Proto Belt as more of a bit more defensive in... Oh, instead, but wait a minute.
Oh, a lot of damage!
Wow.
LWX got caught, and no Tam Kench Devour. I don't know if it was available or not, but ends up being paid over to the side of Suning, and that gives them space, that gives them time, and it also potentially gives them an Ocean Drake.
Yeah, that was very surprising. It was a pure walk-up, no flash expended from Weiwei either to get that. So Suning are actually going to be setting themselves very well for this fight, and I wonder if FPX want to take it. They theoretically, with their lead, could still come out ahead on this one, but I want to see if they're crazy enough.
Still have all the AoE ultimates there. The dragon goes down. GimGoon just off to the back side, just in case someone is a little lazy. Might just try and jump over to that wall to try and challenge the Aatrox, but thinks the better of it. He's gone with full split push build as well, Ravenous Hydra on top of the Triforce, so he's going to be able to 1v1 almost anybody on the side of Suning.
Yeah, and this is just the smart way to play it. IG would have rushed in 4v5 and most likely won it, but this is the much safer play here, just looking for stragglers on-off. And wow, that was so well done from Weiwei. Times it perfectly. The cocoon goes when the minion is still alive, the minion dies, and he lands his target.
The sad thing for LWX is the minion dies because his piercing arrow hits it. So his piercing arrow, as he hits the minion, there's just like a cocoon going at him. It actually opened up the opportunity for the side of Weiwei to catch that one. Teleport is a very deep one now. On top of that, as we see, there's actually going to be a full collapse. The equalizer went down onto Smlz as he's getting burned alive. Now the rest of FPX trying to just jump in, but a good trade over ends up being a 3-for-1 in favor of FPX, and almost certainly going to mean the Baron.
Does the Rumble shout longer on the Chinese server? I feel like
so.
He does. That was a very long death call.
What can Maple do? Good ult to try and keep GimGoon away from him. Can they keep this one going? They haven't really got the damage as of yet. They do need the Rumble to try and go down. GimGoon flashes in, but Maple flashes away. Now they're still on the Baron. Devour has been used. Angel and Maple still trying to keep this ground available to the side of Suning. He goes in, they try to burst it, not able to get it. Now Angel has to flash away. GimGoon jumps straight in on top of him, as well as Tain. And this is going to be a massacre for the side of Suning. They lose everybody. The Baron goes over to FPX. And you imagine that death is knocking on Suning's door for game one.
Yeah, just such a clean play from FPX. Nowhere for anyone to go. I love the Camille teleport into the backside, and pretty much Smlz was soloed out by Doinb. Protection didn't arrive in time. It was a three-way collapse onto the entire team from Suning. Tain walks forward. He has his backup on Crisp, and when Weiwei tries to walk away, even though he gets a good repel, finds a very fed GimGoon on his way down.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the side of Suning, you just didn't have the Azir or the Aatrox for any kind of disengage. And now the siege can begin. You've got so much quick burst damage onto these towers now as well from the side of FPX. Camille can just slice through them with her, passive and her Q. Just a lot of potentials. Weiwei, he's going to take so much damage. He has 0 magic resistance, which means that he's just going to be deleted as soon as he walks up.
You gotta love Liandry's on Rumble. The equalizer, as you can see, provides you the slow.
SwordArt goes golden, so does Tain. Tain going to be devoured, as we saw Aatrox killed off on the backside. GimGoon is just too big. 9-0-0 on this Camille with an 80 CS lead. There's just no way that anyone on the side of Suning can actually deal with this giant Camille.
Pure massacre coming in from GimGoon. He's having these monster games. day in and day out. Already 4 MVPs this split. I'm pretty sure he's going to get another one after this game.
Possibly is FPX trying to just siege up into this mid lane. They will not take it down on this wave, but still have a minute and a half on the Baron buff. Suning gotta find a play. They're gonna wait until Angel comes back up and then maybe look for something. But GimGoon, I just don't know how you kill him. He's even got a stopwatch in his back pocket just in case he ends up going a little bit too far.
Perfect script would be for Suning to engage on the 4-man as Camille is split pushing bot side. Get a good Shurima shuffle. Make sure that not everyone is getting locked into the Hexagon ultimatum. But let's watch this solo kill again. Dodges out on 2 Qs. Actually, all 3. Everything.
Everything. And then immediately jumps in with the Hexagon ultimatum, which means there's just nowhere he can go. Unfortunately for Angel, has been not a good showing for him. The Camille Aatrox matchup is very much a skill-based one. And gotta say, GimGoon is taking him to school.
He lost 200 HP on that dive. That's disgusting.
And now is worth at least 1,000 gold, possibly even more, because his bounty will stack, so he'll get a little bit less off of it next time. But the mid lane inhibitor turret has fallen. Still 30 seconds left on this Baron buff as FPX look to try and push in towards this bot side. Good use of the legacy of Shurima to be able to kind of deny it, as Doinb looks like he's been constantly focused, but he is not. It's just a visual bug.
Yep. And Suning have to go. This is pretty much their last chance. Never mind.
Oh dear. One little piece of CC is all it took to take down the Azir. The Baron buff will wear off very, very shortly, but you would imagine FPX, they're going to take the inhibitor now in the mid lane. They're going to take the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor in the bot side. And maybe just look to try and back up, reset, and go again. Oh, as I say that, GimGoon jumps in. Went a little bit too far, pops the stopwatch, and that means that inhibitor is fallen. And at the moment, Suning 10,000 gold behind, 2 inhibitors down. I don't know what else they can really do. They got to go for a miracle play.
They really have to be the ones initiating these team fights. If FPX get their crowd control chain together, Suning carries just evaporate. So they cannot wait until the minion wave really pushes in. Once Camille shows herself on the bot side, it's go, go, go. And you can see they tried to do that. Too many minions in the front side. Just the chains of corruption. Flash to make sure Azir is dead. No chances whatsoever given to Maple. And just very easy cleanup from FPX.
I like the respect as well coming out from LWX. He picked himself up a wit's end just in case the Elise or the Azir catches onto him. To see what Suning can do. They're 12 to 3 kills down, 10,000 gold down, 2 dragons apiece, but that's a very, very small silver lining as FPX look to potentially push in for the finish. You imagine they're probably just going to push out the waves, go for this Baron in about a minute.
Yeah, FPX actually do close out quite safe. Their average game time is 30 minutes, or the fastest in the LPL, but when it comes to securing things, this split, I think they've done a much better job. In playoffs, they actually rushed the inhibitor against JD Gaming in a game 4 that pretty much cost them the game. So afterwards, I just felt like they've been doing so much safer in their cleanups this split.
For Suning, it's do or die now. There's going to be super minions filing into your base, and there's only so much you can defend against them with GimGoon escorting them in. You've got to fight at this last inhibitor turret. If you lose this, I feel like you can't really defend at your Nexus. There is the hook in as they're trying to just get on top of Smlz. He does get the killer instinct off and keep himself alive. Tain going to pop the Gargoyle Stone Plate as a side of Suning. Do pick up one, but they lose Smlz. That hyper carry is now dead, but GimGoon's too big. GimGoon's got a lot of damage, but actually it ends up being the turret being the MVP as Aatrox now comes in. And Aatrox and Maple trying to do as much as they possibly can. Ends up being a 3 for 3, but super minions are knocking on the door.
Yeah, FPX they only get the Kai'Sa after a lot of abilities were expended, so that was a bit of a messy fight for them. But now Suning will be able to hold on their own base, and it seems like Caster Curse, I said FPX close out very smoothly these days. But somehow in that fight, LWX was the one taking tower aggro, and just fell off because of it. So let's just watch that again. It was the same setup where they used the Chains of Corruption, easy target on one of the backline carries, but a very good disrupt by Angel actually does clip Jarvan before Tain can really go in and finish off the entire job. And look at this fight as LWX goes back in after the death onto GimGoon, he accidentally picks up the tower aggro, dies because of it, and Suning find themselves a delayed last stand.
That was 12 tower shots tanked to help out Suning. That's what they needed. They did not win that fight because of a poor play from FPX, or sorry, from a great play from Suning. They played it because their tower just did so much damage. I want to see the team fight damage for the tower. That's what I want to see.
You can do the math in your head. 12 shots. Go, go, go.
Well, I don't even know to the scales. It's impossible to know. But
it's very hard.
Well, it's not impossible. It's definitely calculatable, but that gives Suning a little bit of respite, means they are delaying a little bit more as GimGoon goes back into that bot side. That bot lane inhibitor going to be respawning in a minute's time, as is the mid lane. So they've got themselves an opportunity if they can delay. Baron has respawned. Minute and a half till Mountain Dragon spawns as well. They have got the triple items now onto the Azir, onto the Kaiser, so the damage is potentially there. As we see now, Angel going to get jumped on. Straight away, you see now so much damage there from GimGoon, but a great Shurima shuffle means that GimGoon has been caught. He loses his GA, but that's going to be the go sign for the Baron. They will kill off the Camille. Good shutdown here, and the side of FPX cannot take this. They cannot do it, knowing that there's teleports available, but there's a fantastic equalizer onto top of Suning, as Weiwei's in a lot of trouble. If he goes down,
he can't land.
He can actually go anywhere. Now there's no smite FPX. Suning had such a perfect opportunity, but a gorgeous equalizer from Doinb is almost certainly going to mean the Baron. However, they don't have any vision. Now they know they're not doing it. Maple, he's got to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, he's got the sense that someone is behind that red brush. Indeed, we have Tain here circling around, but Suning do have the W to check out. That was an insane equalizer to just kill Weiwei. There was no Rylai's either. It was just pure 35% slow, and the speed up from Doinb enough to catch him.
Suning have to know that this is most likely going down, but they did see Doinb up on that top side, so I don't think they know. Now they do, but it's just a little too late, and they will get the Baron just as GimGoon respawns. I feel like FPX were literally waiting for that.
It's going to be massive for that split pusher to have the Baron buff, and this was relatively close. I'm so surprised that they actually just were able to kill Weiwei off of that. It's a perfect angle, slow lasting for so long. Oh, there's just no wards, nothing for the spider to jump back on.
Yeah, what goes up must come down, and now the Dragon going over as well. You've got 3 minutes of Baron buff. All 3 inhibitors are exposed. GimGoon has no GA at the moment though, so they do not have that particular resource in their back pocket. GimGoon did go a little bit too ham.
Yeah, I really want to see if Doinb is actually bringing Nimbus Cloak. That was so fast on the chase down. Probably does have it.
Let's see now what FPX, where they want to prioritize, because right now you're looking at a pretty big Azir. The Aatrox now has relevant items as well, able to kind of maybe do something in these fights. Spectral Cowl being built means that those heals he will get will be a little bit more efficient, but FPX have everything in their favor. We are at the 33.5 minute mark, so could come down to a pure mechanical showdown. You can see GimGoon, he has to give respect. As I say that, SwordArt goes in. You see the equalizer jumped off as well. Tain just keeps side of Maple away. This SMLZ goes golden. Knowing he needs to try and back away, but there's just nowhere for him to run as the Hextech ultimatum gets dropped down. It's 3 kills over to the side of FPX. 4 kills, potential quadra, not gonna happen. He'll just take the triple, and FPX will end the game with a clean ace.
Yeah, that was a good idea from SwordArt. They needed an engage right there, but at the same time, Maple was being locked down by a diver coming in from FPX. Kaisa then finds herself within the equalizer. Hasazania's on top of a pit of fire, and straight afterward, Suning do fall down.
And unfortunately for Suning, they just didn't look like they had any opportunity. It was nothing that they could do in that game. They didn't get the bot lane kills. They didn't have any kind of reactions to the top side that worked. And I don't think at any point in that game did FPX look out of control?
This was too much of a textbook game for FPX. I think it really came down to the way Suning drafted themselves. They drafted both side lanes that required jungle attention, could realistically only focus on one, and the counter pick of Azir, that just was not a satisfying answer to Rumble. You know you're going to get roamed on. You know that scaling hasn't been working in the LPL whatsoever. So I think, you know, Fluidwind and Suning, they need to take a hard look at themselves and say, you know, is scaling really our only option against FPX? Do we really just have to lie down against the early game of FunPlus Phoenix and just say, we're going to wait for the late game? That doesn't seem like it will work.
And for FPX as well, like, you know, sometimes it's Doinb, sometimes it's LWX, sometimes it's Tain. There's just so many threats to deal with this on this team. Like, you banned the Gragas. Tain looked still fantastic onto the Jarvan because he just knew where he had to go. He understood what he needed to do for his team. And like you said, it looked routine from the side of FPX.
It was way too easy. The things you have to do against FPX is you have to disrupt their tempo, and you have to shut Doinb down early. Those are the two most crucial things. If you think about the way that FPX actually played out their early game, really smart, red buff, directly into mid lane, make sure it's pushed out, and then they get the early roam at level, I think, a 3 or 4 just on the top side. Super easy crowd control chain, super easy kills going down all across the board. You have to think about what can shut down Doinb if you have the last pick. I really don't think the Azir against the Rumble was like, yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, that's a great answer there. We found the pick.
But that the game did go long. But even then, you know, you got your items on your Kai'Sa, you got your item on Azir, but at the same time, the engages, the understanding of how to team fight, how to isolate Maple away from the rest of his team so he can't get those Sand Soldiers out and really put down damage. It was just too good for the side of FPX. They didn't expend anything that they didn't need to, and I gotta put it out, Doinb on those equalizers, which was on point every single time. And like I would love a 1v1 of like Rumble versus Rumble, Xiaohu versus Doinb, because like those two guys are just showing you how incredible this champion can be.
Yeah, so I think Rumble is one of those picks that's just been underutilized because not enough jungle pressure was given to it. That's always been the issue with the Rumble in the LPL, and I'm glad that finally teams like Xiao, like RNG and FPX are able to really make it work. You know, BLG were the first ones to try it. We have to give them credit. BLG were the first ones to try, but it didn't really work out for them.
BLG,
it has been working out
BLG are like those guys on YouTube comments who are like, burst!
They were also the first Kiana. I was like, yeah, we got it, baby. Yeah, inventors.
They don't actually add anything to the conversation. They just kind of go, we did it first. And it's like, and?
It was a good try. It was a good try. So I want to see this composition even more from FPX. This is a very difficult one to really pin down. And I just want to know what type of a counter pick that Suning have in store for us. I actually want to see them go over the Kiana.
We'll have to wait and see if you get your wish. We're going to go to a quick break. When we return, we have Game 2 of FPX versus Suning.